Hello and welcome back to another episode of F1 Manager here with Alpine. Decided I'll start showing my face in these episodes because you don't get to see me on the F1 Manager stuff, you only see me on FM, and I'm sure you've all missed me. I'm only going to show me for the intro. We're back today for the home Grand Prix of Alpine here at the circuit Paul Ricard in France. So leave a comment down below, let me know what positions you think we're going to finish with each car. Of course, it's also the home race of Esteban Ocon, no less. So let's head in and see what we can do. So, first of all, we are continuing our scouting for potential new drivers. These people that we're looking for are potential reserve drivers rather than like what first or second driver. My plan has started into motion in that we are in the process of trying to get Ocon moved into the car number one. Because, I mean, why not? We've also got a development point on Oscar Piastri. We'll put that into his smoothness. We are about to head into the French Grand Prix. We're going to have a new front wing manufactured. And it'll be interesting to see what impact we can have in the race. So we've just repaired a couple of the front wings after the losses that we've suffered recently. 34 days and 14 days still to go on the underfloor and front wing projects that we've got ongoing. So they should be here for more towards the Belgian Grand Prix. I don't think they'll be here for Hungary. I said 14 days at the minimum. Definitely won't be here for Hungary. But here we are to France. So let's jump in and have a little listen to what they're going to say ahead of... We're going to say we're going to reach Q3. In fact, you know what? We're going to reach Q3 with both cars. Let's be confident and head into the weekend.
It's Grand Prix time here in Le Castellet. The very first horseless carriage race was organised in France in 1894. And since then, well, the carriages have only gotten faster. For the Grand Prix here, Paul Ricard boasts a fine collection of low, medium and high-speed corners. The scene curve is taken at breakneck speed, right before heavy braking at Beausset. This is an all-rounder test for cars and drivers alike. The season is about halfway through, and it makes me wonder what else is in store for the teams. Well, there's only one way to find out. Stay right here, because we're just getting started.
So we're expecting a bit of rain in the Friday practice. However, a sunny day for the race. Expected strategies, it's basically guaranteed to be a one-stop. There's just no question about that here. Powertrain usage, just have a quick look at what this is looking like. So there's a few cars still on their first power, like Lando Norris, Sergio Perez, George Russell. We're on 3 and 2. So we're definitely going to be having some grid penalties coming up for us. That is a matter of time. But for now, let's head in to practice 1 and start getting some laps under the cars. So we're back after practice. In P1, we had 4th and 6th with Ocon and Piastri. However, that was quite a rain-affected session, as you can see, by the majority of the grid being on intermediates. Practice 2, Ocon was 9th, Alonso was 12th, and practice 3, it was 13th and 14th, with Alonso being the one on top that time. We've got Alonso to 97% confidence on the setup, and Ocon to 88%. I just can't get Ocon's any higher. I've tried a few different things, and I can't quite get it right with the way it was going. Like, the fact that we've got straights at good, but optimal on other bits, I don't like messing with it too much because I just don't seem to be able to get back where I was. So I just scrapped it and said 88 will be fine. We'll send him into the race like that. And hopefully with that, Ocon can pull out a good performance in, of course, his home race. Let's just make sure we haven't got anything that should be on the cars that shouldn't. We've got new side pods that can go onto Ocon's car. Nearly missed that. And I think that would be everything. It is indeed. So maybe that'll be what Ocon needs to pull out something special at his home Grand Prix. I'll see you as usual, either the end of Q1 or the end of Q2 if Q1 is a bit easy for us. So we are on track for the end of Q2. Ocon is safe by about 300ths. Alonso safe by 700ths. So we've sent both cars out. Ocon on a fresh set of softs. Alonso is on a used set. It's more so Ocon that I'm concerned about. And Russell and Norris aren't out of the pits, so they are done. Which means there's only 4 cars that we need Ocon to remain better than. Because 2 of them he's guaranteed to stay better than. In fact, technically, he could drop behind one of these guys and it'd be fine. Magnussen crosses the line, doesn't move up. I think the other ones... So we've got Ricciardo is coming up to the line now. He crosses the line and moves himself nowhere. Sonoda is going to be next to cross the line. Ocon crosses the line, improves. So Ocon can't... It does improve. Zhou knocks Russell out in Q2. Alonso crosses the line and moves. It doesn't move anywhere. 7th and 9th from Q2. It looked like Ocon could have gone out had everyone been on track at the end, but they weren't. So through we went, no problem. And Q3, let's go and see how far up the grid we can get. We can see a grid penalty there for Valtteri Bottas, which will be nice for us.
Drivers are strapping themselves in, ready for race day.
Although we didn't see a standout performance from Alpine during qualifying, everything's still open to them during this race. This weekend, Red Bull displayed real promise during qualifying, but will they fulfill that potential by the time they reach the checkered flag? We've been having sunny weather here today, but there are some clouds looming that might complicate things for teams further down the line.
And this should be a fitting race then to end a tremendously tense weekend here at the French Grand Prix.
So I don't know whether we managed to get recording of the final of qualifying because I don't know if it was paused the entire time. If it was, I'm very sorry. We finished 7th and 9th with Pierre Gasly splitting the cars. And we're going to head in to look at strategies. I'll have a quick look through them and I'll be back with you very shortly. So because of a grid penalty for Valtteri Bottas, we are starting 6th and 8th. We're going to get Alonso going a bit more aggressive with a medium to hard strategy. Ocon going hard to softs in hopes that maybe we get a safety car. Let's have a quick look at the report. Is that something that we can kind of expect? So not particularly. In the last 4 seasons, there's only been 1 full safety car and 2 virtual safety cars. Nevertheless, you never know. It might fall in our favour today.
Now we should have good weather for the race, and that will be welcome news for the teams. Looking at Fernando Alonso here. They might not be in the top 3 spots, but things could change fast once the race gets underway. Further back, we've got Esteban Ocon. A top 10 position today, but will they be able to capitalise on it? Everything's been building to this. And here we go with the French Grand Prix. It's lights out and away we go.
So we're going to jump on and just watch Sainz down to turn 1 and then we'll switch our focus to our own drivers. Sainz very, very comfortably leads into turn 1. Meanwhile, Alonso remains 6th on the back of Sergio Perez and Ocon remains 8th. Hopefully we'll be able to clear Gasly. Let's have a quick look at what people have done tyres-wise. So it's only Ocon in the top 10 that's gone with the hard tyres. Alonso going for a little bit of a look up the inside of Sergio Perez. Can he make it stick out of the corner? It looks like he can. And meanwhile behind, Ocon
Good job.
is going to go ahead and get past Pierre Gasly. So a fantastic start for both of our drivers there. And Alonso is now on the back of course, the current rival of our season in Lewis Hamilton in the Mercedes. Obviously, that's kind of our big thing at the moment, is we are locked in a battle with them. You can see here we potentially could move above them in this race today if we can get the strategy right. If we can get Ocon's safety car that would be lovely for him, it could be absolutely amazing performance for him, because it could play perfectly into his hands and get him a very good finish. What we need now is Alonso just to try and stick with Lewis Hamilton. And if we can stick with him, he can just drag us along, keep us in DRS range, and let us just be a part of this battle.
DRS enabled. DRS enabled.
So DRS coming into play on the next straight, and I think we'll watch to see what happens there, and then we'll jump off and watch some of the 8x speed view. Alonso is struggling to stick in the DRS of Hamilton at the moment. However, behind them, Ocon is doing very well on his end. So early on, you can see Sainz has a big gap out ahead of him. And Hamilton and Verstappen are battling. Leclerc also involved in that battle, which is only going to help Carlos Sainz. Like, Russell's battling with Gasly at the moment, back and forth. We're not really doing anything right now, but that's not necessarily a problem in of itself, because we can kind of be dragged along with that front group. It pulls us away from George Russell potentially, and brings us, you know, if we can get it right, it could be huge for Ocon in particular to be involved with that battle further ahead. The yellow flags came out there, but can't see what that was for. It was a Latifi lockup, so what's it really matter? Ocon's gone and got himself a fastest lap. Alonso is all over the back of Charles Leclerc. And he's also got Sergio Perez all over the back of him. Sainz he's having a lovely time. He's off. Meanwhile, Ocon just interrupting. No, sorry, Alonso just interrupting this race at the front. And with Ocon tagging along with it, it works perfectly in our favour. This is exactly what we need. We don't need to be challenging at this stage to try and get to the front of this group. We're quite happy to just sit in their slipstream, be involved, but not be pushing too much. And then once we get towards pit stops, that's perhaps where we can try and take advantage. Although, in reality, I don't really like our chances of defending from anyone except maybe the Mercedes. But defending from the Red Bull and the Ferrari, I don't see as really being plausible for us. So that's not really on our agenda of how we want to get our race to go. We're happy to just be involved, keep the pressure on. More yellow flags in Sector 3. Is Latifi locked up again? Oh no, Stroll this time, okay. We'll let him off then. But tyre-wise, we are looking absolutely fine. We are just sat in a very nice... I mean, Sainz, as long as there's no major mistakes from Carlos Sainz or Ferrari on that car, he's pretty much going to win this race, because he's already got a 7-second gap. That's... I think Hamilton is really holding up Verstappen, which is what's going to cause the problem for Red Bull, because they can't actually get away from him. Verstappen ran wide a bit here as well, apparently. He did a little bit. Not that bad. But you know what this game's like. It likes to tell us people have run wide when they've gone all of 2 millimeters over the track limits. I think what we are definitely going to look at is, can we get our pit stop right with Alonso in particular? Because if we can, we could jump a couple of cars potentially through pit stops. And if we can, for example, if we can jump Leclerc and latch onto the back of Verstappen and Hamilton, we might be able to then pull ourselves away from the cars behind and get ourselves into the top 4. Ocon is very much, it's going to be about what happens later in the race for him. Whereas Alonso, the pit stops are absolutely vital. And it's good for us to have that split strategy. Yeah, we don't want them both relying on things going their way in pit stops. But I'm just hopeful that Ocon, because he's going to get the open air when everybody else pits. And I'm just hoping with that open air that we can make it count. Even if we make a late change and we pit early for mediums to try and keep him out ahead of someone, it's not the worst idea for us to consider, because we know he can pull it off. If we get the chance, we can definitely pit early, particularly if we get that safety car that we want. That would be lovely for us. But you can see the strategy all coming together. We're just sat behind them. We're not putting too much pressure on, but we don't need to. We can just sit and be passengers in this stage of the race, get dragged along, keep ourselves in the battle. You can see Zhou and Russell still battling, so Russell not able to get into this battle for the big points, which suits us massively, because, as I say, if we can essentially battle against, who's that pitting? So we've got Sainz is in. We're going to pit Alonso on this optimal lap. He's got to go to the hards.
Okay, we're boxing.
I don't know whether that's going to result in him mirroring anybody else. In theory, he's got to mirror at least one of the Red Bulls. Can't pit this lap. One of them can't. Russell is dropped all the way down to 15th at the moment. Meanwhile, Sainz into 7th. Look at the open space he's got. Just for a moment. I mean, he's got 11 seconds ahead of him, 18 seconds behind him. He is having the time of his life back there. And Alonso is going to follow Verstappen, Hamilton and Leclerc into the pits. Meanwhile, Ocon follows Perez down the straight. What will happen here? Is there any hold-ups going to happen? I mean, there's the chance Hamilton would have been held up. 3.7 seconds. It looks like we were the ones that kind of got held up in that, unfortunately. But nevertheless, it's going to work out fine for Alonso. He's got plenty of space behind him. And if we can just deploy a little bit now, push a little bit, get ourselves back into that 1 second space, we'll be well away. And we can assume Ocon is going to follow Perez, and Perez is then going to pit. It would be highly surprising if he doesn't pit on this lap, and off he goes down to the pits. We are leading the French Grand Prix with Esteban Ocon in his home Grand Prix. We obviously don't expect it to last, but we're leading, and that's the point that I'm getting at. We have got Ocon into the DRS range of Charles Leclerc. Perez, that overcut, one lap, has worked out lovely for him. He's jumped Hamilton and Leclerc, put himself alongside his teammate Max Verstappen. Can they work together to pull away? We're going to tell Ocon to go aggressive, go push. Let's see if he can just keep the gap behind him. And if we can, it could be fantastic for us. Alonso is battling with Sergio Perez, and he's overtook him. So we had a yellow flag for a spin from Lance Stroll, and then jumping back on board with Alonso.
Yep.
He's now ahead of Perez, Hamilton and Leclerc. That is phenomenal work from Alonso. Perez is probably going to come back past... No, he's not. This could work out absolutely fantastic if Alonso can hold those guys up a bit. Which I'm not sure he's going to be able to, but it would be nice. If he can at all, which admittedly Perez has gone past him. But he's coming back at Perez on the straight. So that battle could massively benefit Ocon if we can get his pit time right. Let me just add this up. So that's a 20-second gap, give or take, to Verstappen. And then a bit of a gap behind him to Perez. So as it stands, if we were to pit Ocon now, we reckon he'd end up 7th at the back of them. Okay, well, we're going to leave him out a bit longer now. It would be fantastic if Alonso can make an impact in that area. We've still got plenty of time before we need to pit as well. So you never know, we might still get a safety car. And anything like that is going to fall massively into Ocon's favour. The gap now, it's increasing actually to Perez and that group behind Verstappen. So if we can keep Ocon out a little bit longer, there's a pretty good chance that we can slot him into that gap. Stroll's just pitted, and maybe he can hold them up a little bit on the... I know, like, technically he can't, but he might accidentally hold them up a little bit. Because you never know. He might be stuck on a corner. A bit like what he's just had with Verstappen there. If they can catch him while he's in a difficult section of the track. Just jumping on board with Ocon for a moment. He's now battling with Sainz. Honestly, I don't want him battling with Sainz. I want Sainz out ahead. But nevertheless, doesn't look like we're going to get that quite yet. Pit window is open for Esteban Ocon. And the gap is still about 20 seconds back to...
That tire's gone.
The tyres are gone, though. We're going to have to... Okay. The gap's starting to come down, looking at that. We're going to have to pit Ocon now. And then... hopefully he can get these tyres to the end. Here he comes from second place into the pits. It's a 2.5 second pit stop. That is very good. Where is Alonso? Down the straight. And Ocon does come out in 7th. However, Ocon comes out in 7th on softs. What can he do now? It's just occurred to me, because Ocon was out on track still, as it stands, Alonso is battling with Perez for 3rd place and a potential podium. What a weekend this could be. Admittedly, I'd rather it be Ocon that got the podium, but I'm not going to deny Alonso a podium. It would be a big ask for us to be able to battle for that long with Perez, though. But you never know. Ocon is right on the back of this group already. Right, Alonso, don't fight your teammate. Ocon is past Charles Leclerc. And now he's heading towards Lewis Hamilton. Although it looks like he struggled through that little section there. And he's battling with Leclerc at the moment. Perez and Alonso are locked in this battle. We need that gap to Hamilton to come back down, please. If we can, then Ocon could very much get involved in the battle there. However, we're going to have to turn off the don't fight your teammate because we don't want anything to go wrong with how this game reads that. I don't think Ocon's going to be able to catch Hamilton, unfortunately. I think that's going to be a bit too far. If he can continue to battle with Leclerc, though, he can potentially get himself 6th place. And Alonso is still battling with Sergio Perez. What happens if we tell him to hold cars back? Can he do it? I don't think he can. I think they're a bit too good for us to be able to hold them back. And we need to be careful because we don't want Alonso to fall out of the DRS range where he can attack Perez. So it's a fine balancing act for us here. I think we're going to have to go down the route of we can't help Ocon in this race. We're going to just have to focus on Alonso and trying to get him a podium. Just would have been nice for us to be able to get Ocon a little bit higher up, given that it's his home Grand Prix. But Alonso's back into 3rd place and holds him off on that run this time. Back down the straight, there's Stroll in front of them. He's still holding off. And Ocon is up into 6th. He's not been taken back this time. Alonso back ahead. However, Ocon back behind. Ocon, his tyres are gone. His tyres are gone. We pitted him too early. We've made a bit of a blunder there. He's going to be perfectly safe in 7th place. And now it's down to, can Alonso get Sergio Perez into turn 1? He's going to have a little look. Not able to get him at the moment. However, we've got the next DRS zone. He's battling side by side with him through turn 6 and down the main straight. Can he take Sergio Perez? He can.
Okay, copy.
And into the corner. He's created a gap. We might be about to witness an Alonso podium. At the moment, it looks incredibly likely. Ocon's going to come home in 7th place. Carlos Sainz has comfortably won the race. Verstappen is going to be comfortably 2nd. However, looking behind us, Fernando Alonso is going to be comfortably 3rd place and on the podium for Alpine. Crosses the line. There it is. And now here comes Ocon.
Yeah, so what are they today? Yes, we keep pushing, mate. We keep pushing. We'll get there.
Nice checkered flag.
Good job, guys.
Well done, that was a tough day. When you stop, it would be P1, wait 5 seconds, and then P0.
So there we have it. 3rd place and 7th place for the Alpines. A podium again for Alpine. The team are thrilled with it.
Weekend here from Fernando Alonso. His team must be proud.
And we're going to get to watch our driver go up on the podium once again. Phenomenal work.
Tough they must be. A podium is a real feat, and it's been accomplished in style.
It's very nice to be up on the podium with, two drivers like Sainz and Verstappen, teams like Red Bull and Ferrari.
And the talented veteran rounds off another great drive, adding to his impressive F1.
2 Spaniards on the podium as well. That's something I've only just picked up on. So the celebrations begin for Alonso and Sainz and Verstappen. And as you've just heard on the commentary, it's a big moment in the points as well, because Hamilton finished 5th and Ocon finished a place ahead of Russell. Alonso moves back above Ocon by just 1 point. 15 points for Alonso today, 6 for Ocon. And in the Constructors' Championship, we move 7 points ahead of Mercedes with our 21 points to their 14. So a phenomenal race for Alpine there, with Ocon getting a good performance at his home Grand Prix. Alonso on the podium at our team's home Grand Prix. What a weekend for Alpine. We are 3rd in the Constructors' Championship. Can we keep momentum going as we head to Hungary? If you've enjoyed that, please do leave a like down below. Comment what you thought of that race. Do you think we deserve the podium? I certainly do. Subscribe if you're enjoying the content, and thank you very much for watching.